Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to regular online biology class. This is Salmakta Sweetie. Today I am going to discussing about cells and its structure from the chapter 2 of your textbook. We will know cell wall and protoplasm in details. First, what is cell? Cell is the unit of life. That is, all the living things that show life is consisted of many cells or one cell. If you see a building that is consisted of many bricks, and cells are like the bricks of a living body. And so the word cell was derived from Latin cella, that means a small room. As the structure is like a small room, that's why the name was cell. And it's the basic structural, functional and biological unit of all known organisms. So a cell is the smallest unit of life. Cells are often called the building blocks of life. The study of cells is called cell biology, cellular biology or cytology. Only one cell can show a life, and the living organisms that are consisted of only one cell are called unicellular organism. For example, amoeba, bacteria, yeast, all are only one cell. And many cells, billions, trillions of cells consist from life form that are called multicellular organism. For example, we human being, we have approximately 10 to the power 13 or trillions of cells in our body. Plant body is much more, and insects are also multicellular organisms. Discovery of cell. Cell was discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. In 1665, Robert Hooke examined thin slices of cork with a microscope, and he observed that cork is made of tiny hollow compartments that remind him the rooms that was used by monks then, and for that he named the rooms as cell. This figure reflects the observation of Robert Hooke, and you can see here some small rooms that he observed. And actually he observed dead cells, and that's why there was nothing inside the cells, and he saw space within the cell membrane. Cell types. Cell can be categorized into different classes based on different things. Based on physiological function, cells can be of two types: somatic cell and gametic cell. Somatic cell forms the body structure, and gametic cell participate in reproduction. Based on nucleus structure, cells are of two types, and it's the most important cell types, that is eukaryotic cell and prokaryotic cell. So the nucleus structure in the eukaryotic cell, actually in the prokaryotic cell there is no nucleus. They have only chromatin material. But eukaryotic cell contain a real nucleus and all the membrane bound organelles inside the cell. Here you can see it's a prokaryotic cell. and it's a eukaryotic cell. Inside the cell, in the eukaryotic cell, there is a defined nucleus with nuclear membrane, nucleolus, and chromatin reticulum. But in the prokaryotic cell, there is only a chromatin material in the cytoplasm. No defined nucleus here. And in the eukaryotic cell, there is other smaller parts that are called organelles. But prokaryotic cell, there is no such like organelles. They have no membrane bound organelles. And based on chromosome number, cells can be of again two types, diploid cells and haploid cells. Diploid cells contain two sets of chromosomes. All the somatic cells are diploid cells, and haploid cells contain one set of chromosome, and cells that participate in reproduction or gametic cells are haploid cell. So diploid cell have two copies of each chromosome, but haploid cell have only one copy of each chromosome. Ideal plant cell structure. No cell can be ideal. We can only imagine an ideal cell and all the parts inside the cells. The detailed structure of a cell has been studied under compound microscope and electron microscope. The structure of a cell as seen under an electron microscope is called ultrastructure. An imaginary ideal cell composed of mainly cell wall and protoplast. Cell wall, and other than the cell wall, all the parts are included in protoplast. And the protoplast has three principal components: plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. So in this figure, the greener part outside covering, this is the cell wall, and other than the cell wall, all the parts inside it, starting from the yellow part, these are all protoplast. And in this protoplast, the outer membrane, yellow color, it is the plasma membrane. And the master of organelles, this is the nucleus, and all the parts other than the plasma membrane and nucleus is cytoplasm. So cytoplasms are here, everything is cytoplasm. And in the cytoplasm, there is main two parts: cytosol, that is the fluid part, and cell organelles. These smaller parts floating in this fluid is called cell organelles. Cell organelles include endoplasmic reticulum. These are endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi body. These are Golgi body, lysosome, vacuole, mitochondria, plastid. Centrosome is in the animal cell, and cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton are the fiber-like structure that holds this fluid and that give strength this fluid, and make the organelles in their places. These are spread in the whole cytoplasm. Okay, then now we will know the difference with the animal cell. Plant cells are different from the animal cell in mainly these 5 perspective. Animal cells are generally smaller in size than plant cell, and the cell wall is absent in animal cell, and the plastid is absent in animal cell. The vacuoles in the animal cell is smaller in size and less in number. You can see these greenish cell wall is absent here, and the plastids are absent here. Vacuoles here is larger and many more vacuoles, but in the animal cell vacuoles are smaller and only a few number. Centrioles are found in only animal cell, but there is no centriole in plant cell. These are the main differences between the animal cell and plant cell. Now we will know the outermost layer, first part of one cell, that is the cell wall. A cell wall is the outer layer surrounding certain cells, that is outside of the cell membrane. Certain cells, so all the cells don't have cell wall. Only plant, fungi, algae, most bacteria and archaea have cell wall. The cell wall provides strength and structural support to the cell and can control to some extent what types and concentration of molecules enter and leave the cell. The materials that make up the cell wall differs depending on the type of organism. So now let's know the cell wall structure in details. There are 3 layers in the cell wall, that are middle lamella, primary cell wall and secondary cell wall. The middle lamella is the first layer of cell wall to be formed, and it's the outermost layer, and the middle lamella is shared by neighboring cell. Here you can see is this black part is middle lamella, and this is one cell, this is another cell, and this black part is shared by neighboring cells. And inside the middle lamella, primary cell wall develops. Here the yellow part is the primary cell wall, and the innermost layer is the secondary cell wall. And compared to the primary wall, the secondary cell wall is thicker and thus stronger. All the cells don't have the secondary cell wall. Only the matured cells have the secondary cell wall. And there is another component in the cell wall structure, that is plasmodesmata. It is the passage, like the hole in the structure, and it enables transporting cytoplasmic molecules from one cell to another. Other than the cell wall, all the parts inside the cell is called protoplasm. Protoplasm is the complex semi-fluid colloidal translucent substance that constitutes the interior matter of a living cell and is composed of proteins, fats, and other molecules suspended in water. Greek word protos, that means first, and plasma, that means organization, from where the protoplasm word came from. So the first organization that makes something live is protoplasm. And the word protoplasm was first used by J.E. Parkinge. Huxley called protoplasm as the physical basis of life because it does all the activities of living things. Here you can see some protoplasm of some plant cell, and the cell wall has been degraded by enzymatic treatment or chemical treatment, and there is only cell membrane, and inside the cell membrane the cytoplasm, etc. And so this is the protoplast of some cells. Chemically, protoplast is composed of water 80 to 90% and some protein, carbohydrates, lipids, and other substances. There are three parts in the protoplasm: cell membrane, outside layer, outside membrane, that is called cell membrane or plasma membrane, and inside the plasma membrane there is nucleus, and other than the cell membrane and nucleus, everything is cytoplasm. Here you can see it's all the protoplasm. Outer covering is cell membrane. This is the nucleus, and everything other than these two parts is cytoplasm. So now we will know about the cell membrane, the outer limit of a cell that separates the interior of all cells from outside environment is called plasma membrane or cell membrane or plasma lemma. It is living, elastic, ultra thin, and semi-permeable. Plasma membrane, also called cytoplasmic membrane, cell membrane, or plasma lemma. The outer boundary of the cell is called the plasma membrane, and it is composed of four different types of molecules: phospholipids, cholesterol, proteins, and carbohydrates. This is an illustrated structure of plasma membrane. And next, inside the plasma membrane there is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the live, semi-transparent, granular, colloidal, colorless, and flexible constituent of cell enclosed by the cell membrane. And cytoplasm is divided into two parts: endoplasm, that is less dense central area, and ectoplasm, that is denser around the cell membrane adjacent area. The whole this ash part is cytoplasm, and in the center it is the endoplasm, and adjacent to the cell membrane these are ectoplasm. What is the function of cytoplasm? Holds the cell organelles, that is the smaller parts of the cells, maintains shape and consistency of cell, site of metabolism and protein synthesis. Cytoplasm has two parts: cytosol, that is the fluid part, it is only the ash color part, is the cytosol. And the cytoplasmic organelles, the floating smaller parts in the cytoplasm, is cytoplasmic organelles. You can define cytoplasmic organelles as the subunit with specific function, because all the smaller parts have specific functions, and they are called organelles because they are like our like purse of cell, and our purse of cells, we call the purse of cell our body as organ, and as they are very small, that's why we call these purse as organelles. We will know about details of these organelles in our next class. This is all for today. Thank you all. Allah Hafiz.